And number 3 on the top 14 underrated holiday specials and movies is A Goof Troop Christmas, entitled Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas. This is a Christmas special based, of course, on Goof Troop, and it was one of the only few Disney, if not the only, Disney afternoon series that its Christmas episode was aired in prime time. And it's really, really good. I mean, if you have not checked it out yet, have not seen it, if it ever comes back on, I suggest you do see it. It's very good. Basically, the story centers around the fact that Goofy, being himself, is going a little overboard with the Christmas decorations and everything. Being Goofy, basically, is set in the tradition that he's had with Max since Max was a little kid. And I'm sorry about that little bump on the mic. That was my hand. Um, but he's basically set in this tradition to the point that Pete gets so annoyed with Goofy's antics, he decides that it's time for the family to have Christmas somewhere else. So where do they go? They go from Spoonerville to Aspen, Colorado. But as soon as Max hears about this, Max too, like Pete, would like to have a change of atmosphere. So instead of being away from his best friend PJ, during Christmas, Max convinces his dad to go to Aspen as well. But what Max doesn't know is Goofy has packed all the decorations and everything in to come along with them. Now, what ensues afterwards is, you know, as Goofy is putting up all the decorations and everything, he starts singing, and wouldn't you know it, that he's on the bottom, that he and Max's cabin sort of like on the bottom of the hill, and on the top of the hill is Pete and his family's cabin. So isn't it kind of ironic that they're, kind of neighbors again? And what happens is Pete overhears the singing, and as he tries to basically throw something at whoever's singing, he falls out the window, rolls down the snow into the trash cans. Goofy sees that into the trash cans. Goofy turns around, sees that it's Pete, and says, "Ooh, I didn't know we were neighbors again." And so you kind of get the idea of how this happened. And then that's, of course, when Max comes out and notices his dad's got all the decorations, out again. Like, oh, awesome, Dad, you brought the decorations. But what happens afterwards is, Max and Goofy show up at Pete's family's cabin, and says hello to everybody else who has not seen him yet. But Peg, who answers the door, says yes, and Pete told us you were here and everything. And what happens afterwards is they go on with the exception of Pete, they go on a sled ride. They have these like the little I can't even. They use all these different varieties sleds and tubes, and they go on the little sled rides and all that, and then they kind of encounter a bear, and then later on that night, well, basically what happens is that in typical Goof Troop fashion, if you will, in Christmas, and I guess you could say typical Christmas special fashion in some cases, what happens is that Goofy and Max, due to some unfortunate circumstances, and because of an invitation by Peg, are invited, end up staying with Pete and his family in their cabin. And of course, again, hilarity, Goofy style ensues there, to the point that Pete finally gets in Goofy's face and says, "Look, I'm sick and tired of you doing this. I'm sick and tired of your antics. You've gone too far. You've ruined Christmas for everything, and even your own child." And Goofy, hearing that, just walks off, and then after Max opens up his present and sees it's a framed picture of him and his dad from years ago when they were doing the reindeer dance. And overall, I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody that's not seen it yet. But overall, it's a very decent holiday special. And yes, I will admit that it has also been, if you don't know about this, it also has been part of the regular lineup of the Goof Troop episodes. But overall, it's very good. And if you've not seen it yet, I suggest, if you ever get a chance to watch it, you will like it. I'm not lying to you. You will like it. And That's why, to me, Goof Troop is deserving of the number 3 spot on the top 14 underrated Christmas holiday specials and movies. Goof Troop Christmas at number 3.